Here we go. Good morning. We are the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. And the show is driven by your next GMC Sierra truck or GMC Yukon. Fowler GMC. Pearl Brandon. FowlerGMC.com. Pre-owned and new. GMC Sierra trucks and GMC Yukons. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Our guests join us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. And we welcome in NFL Cowboys insider Ed Werder to the show. Ed, I've had a blast watching America's Team, The Gambler, and his Cowboys on Netflix. You are in it. How cool. All right, when did you get the call knowing that you were going to be in the show?
Well, the producers were around the team a lot over recent years, and Adam Goldberg was sort of the on-site producer. And so he had mentioned to me several times that they would have an interest in having me sit with them and talk about my experience covering those Cowboys teams back in the early 90s when they were winning 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. And to be honest, I hesitated because, as I told them, probably the most valuable thing I took from my 30-plus years of covering the Cowboys was being there that night when the downfall of Jimmy and Jerry's partnership began in an Orlando bar at an NFL owners meetings, when Jerry told me that I shouldn't leave a bar because I was going to miss the story of the year. But ultimately, I worked it out with them. I resolved those misgivings, and they didn't really get into all the intricacies, so I think that story still has value for me. But yeah, I'm glad I did it. I mean, they tried to tell me, hey, this is a legacy type thing, production, documentary. We got Phil Knight, we got George, former President Bush, Rupert Murdoch. This is something you're going to want to be a part of. And ultimately, I am glad I did it. And one of the reasons I did it, to be quite honest with you, was I had heard that Jerry was telling the production people that the story we told about his behavior in the bar and the statements he made about Jimmy and firing him, that those were off the record and should not have ever been shared with our Dallas Morning News readers and audience. And so I wanted to make sure that the story was told accurately.
Heck yeah. Well, I thought you did a great job. I'm glad you did it too. For our listeners, Ed Werder, it's one of the biggest stories in professional sports ever. And because of the Cowboys dynasty starting to come to fruition and so on. Did you realize right when Jerry said what he said about 500 coaches could do this, and I'm paraphrasing and you can help me out here when you answer, but did you realize how big a story was unfolding when it was happening in the bar, Ed?
Well, I knew before the bar situation. I knew at the end of the regular season, that began with Emmitt Smith holding out, or he was unsigned, but he missed the first 2 games in a contract dispute with Jerry. Ultimately, he leads the NFL in rushing. They win the Super Bowl. He's the MVP. At the end of that season, I knew there were issues between Jimmy and Jerry that were serious and unusual for a head coach to have with the owner. I did not know even after the bar scene that I'd never seen Jerry like that before. And he was willing for all of that to be reported because he didn't say.
Yeah. Hey, Ed, we got a bad connection. We're going to call you back because we got to get all this. It's got to be clean because this is an incredible story. So Ed Werder, longtime Cowboys NFL insider, he joins us on the Out of Bounds show. We're talking about America's Team, The Gambler and his Cowboys. And it's on Netflix. And I don't know how many episodes it is, but I've watched several. And Ed Werder was in the bar the night that Jerry and Jimmy got into it. And then Jerry said what he said. So we're going to start over here because this is one of the most powerful stories in the history of sports. And what I asked Ed was, did he realize how big a story this was as it was unfolding? Go ahead, Ed. You got the floor.
Yeah. So we're in the Orlando bar, and Jerry, repeatedly threatens to fire Jimmy. And I didn't realize, I mean, I recognized I'd never heard him speak like this. But even after we got it all on the record and reported it, Jimmy, left the owners' meetings, I really just thought that it was something that would blow over and they would reconcile, that Jimmy basically left the owners' meetings to force Jerry to twist in the wind publicly over these ridiculous statements he had made that showed of a lack of respect for his head coach and his achievements. But I really didn't think that was going to be the end of it. And I don't think necessarily they did exactly then either. It played out for another week before they finally made the announcement. And by the time Jimmy and Jerry had their press conference and announced their separation, and Jerry paid him $2 million to leave after winning back-to-back Super Bowls, that was not even the big story the next day, because the big story the next day was Barry Switzer was going to be the head coach. So Jerry geniusly, transitioned the story from being about the dissolution of his partnership with Jimmy to his new partnership with Barry Switzer, which was unthinkable.
Yeah, unbelievable. Switzer had the run at Oklahoma, probation, had been out of coaching for a couple of years, and then Jerry hires Barry Switzer. Okay, help me out. How much bitterness do you think is with Troy Aikman towards Jerry Jones? Because I'm watching Troy throughout the show, and at times he's guarded, measured. He seems like he's always serious. How ticked off were those three? But Troy Aikman, knowing that Jerry blew up what could have been more Super Bowl runs. Ed?
Well, we've heard. I think you get the very clear sense from the interviews, that Troy was all about winning, and he really embraced, Jimmy's coaching style, holding players accountable, being demanding. I mean, that's consistent with Troy's personality. And at the time, that was the only way these guys knew how to win.
True.
I mean, Troy and Michael and Emmett, they were all there Emmett wasn't there when they went 1-15, but he was there when they went 7-9. So they all knew what losing was like in the NFL. They knew had an appreciation for how hard it was to win. And so they respected the way Jimmy, ran the team. And, Troy had an experience with Barry Switzer, and it was actually a positive one, because when he got hurt and could no longer play for Switzer at Oklahoma, Switzer was moving on to Jamel Holloway and running the wishbone again. Barry actually helped Troy get to UCLA. He called Terry Donahue and set that up for Troy. So Troy had an appreciation for Switzer, but he quickly discovered that this was not the same Barry Switzer from a competitive standpoint as the one he had known in their previous relationship together. Switzer had been out of football for 5 years. His competitive instincts had dulled. He was comfortable not coaching. He was comfortable being retired. And now all of a sudden he inherits this team that's been, driven hard and been amazingly successful, winning back-to-back Super Bowls. And the expectation is somehow that's going to continue with him as the head coach. And so Troy all of a sudden discovered, hey, now I have to assume the Jimmy role. I've got to be hard on guys because Switzer's not that way. And there was a lot of frustration in that. And I've heard him say, who knows what would have happened if Jimmy had stayed. Maybe what Tom Brady and Bill Belichick accomplished together, maybe that would have been us. There's no shortage of players on those teams who think they should have won somewhere between 4 and 6 Super Bowls, and they won 3.
Oh, man. Ed Werder on the Out of Bounds show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. So one of the other things, I was younger. I was in junior high and high school through this thing, and as I'm watching it, I remember some of it, but we didn't have access, as you know, Ed, like we do. I'm over here in Jackson, Mississippi. Today I can stream or go to, DallasMorningNews.com, all that.
Yeah.
But the one thing that jumped out at me is Michael Irvin's competitive fire, to me, was on the level of Michael Jordan. Do you think that, and how did you see it when you were covering the Cowboys?
Yeah, there was no question. In fact, Michael obviously had a lot of off the field issues. And in reflection, he's lucky he's somehow not in prison serving a life sentence for nearly killing a teammate, Everett MacGyver, with a pair of scissors over, who was next in line for a haircut at a dormitory in Wichita Falls during Chan Gailey's first training camp. But yeah, I mean, Jerry Jones still to this day, compares. He thinks Michael Irvin is the most competitive player that he's ever seen. He's never seen anybody so invested. And I did an interview one time about Michael Irvin with NFL Films, and I said, Michael Irvin gave football everything he had, whether it was game, whether it was practice. He was totally committed. He gave football everything he had, and he took everything it offered. And that obviously, led to him being suspended for 6 games at the beginning of a season, and Deion Sanders sort of emerged as Troy's number 1 receiver, which is preposterous to think about. But yeah, I mean, there's no question Michael Irvin was a heartbeat of those teams, and his practice sessions were legendary. His off-season workouts were incredible. He was totally committed to winning, but he wound up embracing Switzer more than some of the other holdover.
I could see that. Yeah, and what you just described is very Jerry Rice like, except Rice never got in trouble off the field. So what you just, because Jerry's from here, and just how almost psycho he was about working out, and I was reading a book, Talent is Overrated, several years ago, and they talked about how the San Francisco 49ers, Ed, wouldn't give other players Rice's off-season workout for fear that they may hurt themselves. I mean, because of the intensity,
Right.
And that was I just didn't know all that about Michael Irvin. I knew how great he was. I watched the games.
Yeah.
As you reflect and relived it with Netflix and your colleagues, I thought y'all did a wonderful job, by the way, the storytelling. As you relived it, was it something where you had forgotten some things, and then reliving it, you were like, oh, and this happened, and then you were with your colleagues and y'all were able to bounce things that happened off each other during that time, Ed?
Yeah, there were definitely incidents or episodes where I was like, oh, I didn't know that as closely as I covered the team. I did not realize, for example, when right tackle Eric Williams crashed his car and nearly died. I didn't realize that. Maybe I was naive. I should have realized. Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith rushed to the actual scene while he was still in the car, and accompanied him to the hospital. I didn't know about that part of it. The thing I think that surprised me the most that they left out was the storyline about after drafting Troy Aikman first overall in 1989, that they soon thereafter, a few months later, committed the next year's first-round pick to taking Steve Walsh, another quarterback, one who had just won a national championship for Jimmy Johnson and so many of those staff members he brought with him from Miami to Dallas. And that began the mistrust that Aikman experienced, with Jerry and Jimmy early on in his career, and, provoked him to talk to his agent about, creating an opportunity to be traded out of Dallas. So I was a little surprised that storyline didn't emerge at all. But my overall takeaway just watching this thing was, my God, what an incredible coaching staff and group of competitors, guys who played their absolute best in the biggest moments against the best opponents, and won championships, and how that contrasts with what we've seen from all the Cowboys teams ever since then, who have never even gotten to a championship game.
Ed Werder's been covering the Cowboys in the NFL for a long time. We're talking America's team, the Gambler, and his Cowboys on Netflix. It's unbelievable. Must watch. And when you turn it on, you're going to go through multiple episodes, and the dynasty that they had, but taking down the 49ers and all the different, and I guess the Redskins to a certain extent. I tell you what I didn't remember, Ed, was Emmitt getting hurt in the last game of the season against the Giants, and they had to win that game home field advantage, and he just absolutely busted up, tore up his shoulder, and they cut out some more pads and put it around his shoulder. Did you remember that vividly?
Yeah, I was at that game, and I recall that Emmitt was injured early in the game and persevered. Initially they wanted him out there just to be a decoy, but ultimately they were forced to give him the ball, and he helped win the game. And at that point, they had committed so much. They knew that when this game was over, Emmett was going to require some time to recover for the start of the playoffs. And if they lost to the Giants that day, they would have had to play the next week, and Emmett almost certainly would not have been anywhere near 100%. If they won the game, they were going to get a bye week, and Emmett would have 2 weeks to recover. So they win the game, which was must win at that time, to win the division on the last day of the season. They get the bye. Emmett gets 2 weeks. He's dominant in their playoff game. They eliminate Green Bay. And then when they go to that Super Bowl, it's essential that Emmett's at his best and drives the offense, because Troy Aikman suffers a concussion in the NFC Championship game against the 49ers, and there's no bye week between the championship game and the Super Bowl. Like, under today's concussion protocols, there's no way Aikman would have cleared.
No.
He would have had to miss the game. Bernie Kosar probably would have been the starting quarterback for the Cowboys in that Super Bowl. But as it turned out, Emmett was essential to the win. Maybe only James Washington with the 2 turnovers rivaled him, but he won the MVP of the Super Bowl. He dominated the second half of the game when the Cowboys came from behind to win, and he's the MVP. And all of that season began, as I said, with Emmett missing the first 2 weeks of the season in a contract dispute with Jerry. Those Cowboys became the first team in NFL history to start 0-2 and win the Super Bowl.
Unbelievable. Let's talk Norv Turner. I didn't really, it took Aikman a little bit of time to get up and running. He needs some marinade and so on. And they were putting good pieces around him, as you well know, with Michael Irvin even before that, and Emmett after, as you referenced. And there, we'll never give credit to the offensive line and all that.
Yeah.
But he talked about, will you walk us through? Aikman said Norv Turner comes in and said, we got to speed you up or this is not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Will you?
Yeah, I mean, Troy, he continues to have, it's a lifelong friendship now that was created with Norv Turner. But, even though the Cowboys had Troy and Michael and Emmett, they were one of the worst offenses in football under, David Shula, who was the offensive coordinator calling the plays. And so Jimmy makes a change and brings in Norv Turner, who had worked with Ernie Zampese. And so it was all about, getting the ball out quickly, a rhythm and timing offense, but a balanced offense that relied on the running game. Norv had worked under John Robinson at USC. And so it's no accident. I mean, so pivotal was Norv Turner to the success of the Cowboys offense and Troy Aikman's evolution as a Hall of Fame, 3-time Super Bowl winning quarterback, that when Troy went into the Hall of Fame, it was Norv Turner he selected to do the induction speech. And so, Norv totally changed the equation for the Cowboys on offense, and with Troy in particular.
Outside of player-wise, Ed Werder joining us, sharing unbelievable Cowboys stories with Jerry and Jimmy. Outside of Aikman, Emmett, and Urban, in your opinion, during that window of whatever, 89 to 94 or 90 to 93, whatever it is, who was the most important player outside of those three, Ed?
Charles Haley.
Yeah.
I think the acquisition, and he appears throughout the documentary too. I think the 49ers' gross miscalculation about what Charles Haley was and what he was capable of on the field totally flipped that period of dominance from the 49ers to the Cowboys. I think the 49ers were, considering trading Haley, even though he was a dominant pass rusher, and those guys are hard to find, even though he was all of that on the field, he had become so difficult in terms of his personality to handle. And you can argue he had personality disorders and required medications, and I think he would acknowledge all that and does in the show. But I think the 49ers traded him to Dallas, which was an emerging team at the time, because they thought his off the field was going to wreck their locker room. Like, I think that's the reason they were motivated to trade him to the Cowboys. It's kind of like any talk now about the Cowboys trading Micah Parsons to the Packers.
Good
like,
grief.
Why would you trade a pass rusher of of that, with that ability, a Hall of Fame pass rusher, to the team that's most likely going to challenge you for the next few years to make it to the Super Bowl. I think the 49ers miscalculated. And we've heard Jerry say, hey, we could not have spelled Super Bowl without Charles Haley. So I think Haley's ability to rush the passer, just changed everything on defense. And Jimmy had already loaded up, on the defensive line. They had an enormous amount of talent on the defensive line. They could roll players in waves. But Charles Haley gave them that one guy that every offense had to game plan against and still couldn't stop. And so I think Haley was the guy who, other than the big three on offense, he was the guy who is most responsible for the success those teams had.
Yeah, dominant. Watching Romanowski, we've had him on the show, watching him and Jerry Rice and Steve Young talk about getting beat once the Cowboys flipped it on them. Because Ed, you were there. You know how talented they were. I mean, they're sitting there talking about it years later, like, how did this happen? And how gut-wrenching it was for the 49ers to lose the torch.
Yeah, they hated the Cowboys. They were already the team of the 80s, and if it hadn't been for Dallas, and if it hadn't been for the Charles Haley trade, arguably the 49ers would have been the team of the next decade, too. They would have been the team of the 90s. And you got the sense from them, about how much they respected, the Cowboys as an opponent, but just how frustrating it was for them to be unseated in the way that they were. I thought it was pretty remarkable when Steve Young said, losing to the Cowboys and competing against the Cowboys in those big games, that made me the player that eventually I was. That made him a guy who could go throw, 6 touchdown passes at the Super Bowl and beat the Chargers and finally, end the speculation about how inferior he was to Joe Montana, the franchise icon. So, I think you got a very clear sense of just how meaningful those games were.
So good. So good. Ed Werder, ESPN Cowboys, NFL Cowboys insider. He's in the show America's Team, The Gambler, and his Cowboys on Netflix. And next week we'll jump into Micah Parsons and Cowboys Eagles on Thursday Night Football. Ed Werder, that was fantastic. Thank you so much. We'll talk next week.
Good to talk to you, Bo. Looking forward to being with you every week of the season. Thanks so much.
Man, this is going to be a blast. Ed Werder on the Out of Bounds Show. The show is brought to you by Fowler GMC. And your next GMC Sierra truck or GMC Yukon pre-owned or new at Fowler GMC, Pearl Brandon. Hit their website right now, FowlerGMC.com. That's FOWLER, FowlerGMC.com. Show is also presented by Fuse.Cloud. Cybersecurity is more than firewalls and spam filters. It's about protecting your business, your employees, and your reputation. And that is powered by Fuse.Cloud, F-U-S-E, Fuse.Cloud's managed IT service. Call them today.
Say, kids, what time is it?
It's 9 a.m., and this ain't no kiddie show. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds.
All aboard!
As Mississippi's #1 morning show rolls on the Zone 105.9 and online at thezone1059.com.
Woo! Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone ESPN.
Clown X.
That's Jerry Jones. Goodness gracious. I mean, come on.
Clown X.
Oh, goodness. Live in the Bank Plus studio, Ed Werder was fantastic. ESPN NFL Cowboys insider. He was there that night in the Orlando bar when Jerry Jones piped off. 500 guys could take this team to the championship. And bam, a few days later, the divorce is final. Jerry Jones pays Jimmy Johnson $2 million to leave. And holy smokes.
It's just wild to me.
It is. It is.
Yeah, I mean, and aren't they both Arkansas boys?
Yeah, they played together.
They played together.
They show those pictures of the 1964 team.
Oh, so they go back.
Oh, that was why they were teammates, had been friends forever. Now, I mean, they weren't like hanging out, but they knew each other and had the camaraderie and the teammate thing.
Wow.
As Jimmy said, as Jimmy Johnson said, for our listeners, I guess I assume everybody knows, and that may not be the case, but Jimmy Johnson coached the Cowboys. Prior to that, he coached at Miami and Oklahoma State. He won two Super Bowls at the Cowboys. He was the architect. He was the GM. He was the one that did the Herschel trade. He was the one that, like Ed Werder just said, drafted Steve Walsh, which really ticked off Troy Aikman. But then he traded Walsh for a ton of picks. And Walsh never really did anything in the NFL. It is interesting that Steve Berline played so well behind Aikman when Aikman got hurt. And we had Berline on last year, the year before, at the Steve Azar golf event. And Berline was really, really good. He's a ton of fun to hang out with and drink a cold beer with and smash a cheeseburger.
Yeah, what you're saying, though, is Aikman was a system quarterback.
Whoa, I did not say. Here's what look. Having Jimmy Johnson, and the personnel and the talent that he accumulated on both line of scrimmages was the driving force. And as Jimmy will say, as he has said time and time again, and he loves all of them, but he makes sure that people understand how good their defense was.
Right.
And he has said verbatim, hey, we were number 1 and number 2 in the NFL in defense. Look, we all love we love watching Michael Irvin or whoever your favorite wide receiver is, Jamar Chase, whoever you're watching next Sunday. We all love watching quarterbacks throw touchdowns, and we always will. But Jimmy makes it a point to say we were dominant on defense with those guys, and they were. And if you notice in the big games, the turnovers early, a lot of times their offense was going, that's what happens in playoff football. Their offense was going 3 and out, and then all of a sudden Dallas would get a turnover, and then they would get going. I mean, is Emmett great? Yes. Is Irvin great? Yes. In my opinion, is Aikman good to really good? Yes. But you look at that offensive line was nasty, and you look at that defense with Charles Haley, number 1 or number 2, they were unbelievable. Unbelievable. And Norv Turner comes in. He just said it. David Shula couldn't get things going. They weren't any good. and then Norv Turner speeds Aikman up and put, it's get the ball out of your hands. It's what Tom Brady ran at the Patriots. It's what Peyton Manning ran at the Colts, and so on. But it's a fascinating show on Netflix. I hope you'll watch it if even if you weren't alive during this time, because it's hard to wrap your brain around everything that was going on in the building, on the field, and off the field. And Ed brings up a good, Michael Irvin just escaped going to prison. And he, they got him out of this, that, and the other. Now, the flip side of that, he's a crazy man. He ran so hot. The flip side of that, he had the competitive drive of Jordan, Kobe, Brady. Just maniacal. And that's what it takes. Elon, Jobs, we know all. I mean, there's men in the state of Mississippi who have driven businesses, to unparalleled heights. And that's, you have to, you don't have to do what Irvin did off the air, but I'm talking about Michael Irvin as far as competitive as he was in practice. They talked about how Kobe and Jordan just didn't understand why you weren't going full throttle in practice. Like if you were going through the motions. Well, I'm tired. We're 42 games into the NBA season. Michael Jordan didn't give a damn. We're on the practice. We're on the court for 2 hours. It's all out. It's like game 7. That's hard to be wired like that.
Oh, man, day in, day out.
Day in, day out. It's like Michael Irvin. You're 9 games into the season. Your body feels like hell. I mean, high school football players in another week or two are going to feel like that. College after probably game 2, NFL after game 1 or 2, but much less after game 6, 7, 8. That's why rest and recovery is like the thing now. Yeah. How much is your high school, college? Of course, NFL spends a gazillion dollars on recovery for these players, but you didn't have all that as much back then, much less in 1972.
What did they have back then? Nothing on the.
They took ice baths.
Sure.
And they had athletic trainers and physical therapists and things like that, but nothing compared to what Brady and LeBron and those guys have today.
I would
as
love
far as
to
rest
see
and recovery.
A recovery or rest and recovery, itinerary from back then and to now.
Well, back then, like in 1974, it was an ice cold Budweiser.
Yeah, right.
And they gave you an ice pack.
That's right. That's plenty.
Today, you're going into a hyperbaric chamber or something and getting, whatever. And they're able to, what am I trying to say? Like some kind of regenerative something that they can shoot into you.
Yeah, just keep hitting me with stem cell. We'll be good.
Stem cell, yeah. I don't even know what that is.
Regenerative cells.
Okay. Maybe I need some of that.
I think that you would actually love it.
Okay, I'll take some of that this afternoon.
All right.
But I got to drive to Hattiesburg. You think they have any of that? Can I go through the Southern Miss?
I think that
athletic?
From here to Hattiesburg, they got something that you can do something with down there.
When I stop at the Dairy Queen McGee,
yeah, they.
Do you think they have it?
Yeah,
in the drive-thru.
Maybe generic.
Just hit
probably,
a blood vessel.
They probably got generic stem cell back there.
National Burger Day. Speaking of my favorite,
is that why you're going to
place?
Are you
Dairy
stop?
Queen? Oh yeah,
yeah.
I have
to, right? Yeah.
Every time I'm up, almost 90% of the time, I stop at the Dairy Queen in McGee. But it's the best in the country.
I feel like you were there last Burger Day.
I know, I do too.
I really do.
Weird.
I really think you might have been.
That is weird. Hey, the Golden Moon Casino text line is 601-885-3776. National Burger Day. Brought to you by Martin's in Livingston. We'll talk burgers, condiments, and football on the other side. Ed Werder was so good. That'll be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as far as talking about the Cowboys in the 90s and Jimmy and Jerry. Search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Out of Bounds giveaway mania continues. It's National Burger Day. Brought to you by Burgers Blues Barbecue, B3. You got B3 in Madison, B3 Dogwood, Flowwood, B3 in Brandon. Talk to me, Jackson. That Highway 61?
Bacon and blue. It's the move.
Highway 61 bacon and blue burger.
I don't like blue cheese, and I love that burger.
Ooh, those onion rings. National Burger Day, B3, Burgers Blues Barbecue. We're giving away a $25 gift certificate to B3 and an Out of Bounds hat. We've got them. They're new. It's our Patriot line. It's pretty cool. And/or we've got two winners this morning, a $25 gift certificate to Martin's in Livingston, also with an Out of Bounds hat, American flag. We did the OOB in the American flag.
First hat we've given out. Is that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get a gift. The winners will get a gift card to either B3 or Martin's in Livingston and a hat.
Exclusive access.
Yeah. So that's 65. That's $70 worth of gift card and hat. And how do you enter? Well, it's an Out of Bounds roll call on the Golden Moon Casino text line, 601-885-3776, 601-885-3776. And we would like to know, are you listening on 105.9 The Zone or streaming the show? Where are you listening from? And what is your favorite condiment / place to get a burger? Yeah. And that's how you enter, and you could win a gift card to B3, Burgers Blues Barbecue, or a gift card to Martin's in Livingston. And both will come with an Out of Bounds hat with the OOB in the American flag. They're the rope hat, the lost hats, and they're really, really cool. Josh Raggio Mercantile Shop was one of the first ones I saw with it. And, yeah, we need to get right. He hadn't reached out. He needs to come in studio and hang out with us.
Doing, man.
You know, he's always dressed like he's going, like he's in the band of Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah.
Or maybe a little Black Crows. Yeah. No doubt with the way the Robinson brothers, kind of their look. I'd go with that too. That's okay.
Good look.
Yeah. Little Lenny Kravitz. I love Kravitz. What an unbelievable artist and musician. Damn. Oh, Josh coming in strong with that picture.
Did he respond?
As you?
Okay, nice.
God, that burger's ridiculous. I'm hungry. Wow. Okay. Pappy says Rips and McGee has just been named having the best burger in Mississippi.
I heard about that place.
Yeah, I've heard about that place. I've never stopped. Got to get there, baby. Not going to be able to stop probably today, but if the timing's right, I will be going through the Dairy Queen in McGee because it's fabulous. Eric says home run content. Ed Werder is a legend. He's also a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
Bodine Dog. Bo, having Ed on each week is absolutely great. I will tune in and listen every week. Thank you for the show. Hey, thank you for listening to the show. We love you, and I appreciate it. And we're glad to have Ed on. We had a guy, we were lucky, had a guy that we know in the business that put us in contact with Ed Werder. I've been wanting to do this forever. Finally, it happened. And I remember him as a kid and in college. You know, what'd you do? You watch Sports Center. You watch Dan and Keith and, you know, all the guys. And Ed Werder was a part of that. Y'all know, you know, Jackson and them didn't live it, and that's fine. We all go through our things. He lived it. But they ran Sports Center all morning, every morning. So before class, after class, you watched it. And there was always something going on with Jimmy Johnson, Jerry Jones, Michael Irvin, and the Cowboys. Ed Werder was in the thick of that. The show on Netflix is insane. Ed Werder's all over it. We're excited to have him. Brad says on the Golden Moon Casino text line, it's cool to have Ed Werder on the show, Bo. I would see him all over ESPN over the years. Yeah. Unnamed texter, great interview. Thank you. Ed's great. All I had to do was just say hey, and he took it. Charles Haley was a monster for the Dallas Cowboys. The San Francisco 49ers let Charles Haley go to the Dallas Cowboys, and he wrecked them. I mean, Steve Young has had nightmares about Charles Haley coming off the edge for 35 years. Mm-hmm. Good grief. Oh, man.
So that was the beginning of the end, right? Was that mean whenever they let him ride?
No, they came back and won the Super Bowl against the Chargers.
Right.
Yeah. They still were,
still loaded.
Yeah, they still had dudes, Steve Young and Jerry Rice and Romanowski, among many others. But I think what your takeaway is from that show is just great players, Jerry Rice, Steve Young, and Bill Romanowski, talking about how they continued to lose to the Cowboys and how much talent they had. And it robbed them of at least one Super Bowl, if not two. But no, they would eventually win one against the Chargers.
Right.
Seifert, Young, and so on. We've got an unnamed texter. No, this is Pat from Laurel, Mississippi. Hey, Pat. Thanks for listening to the show. We appreciate you. Listening on the app, thank you. Catch up on the Loft Burger at the Loft in Laurel. I have been to the Loft. I love that place. Yeah. And I stayed at the Lofts or whatever, right downtown. They're really cool. They put me there a couple times. When I do shows for Bocoma, yeah, which we'll be there tomorrow. But I'm staying in Hattiesburg. Got to get up a little bit early and make that little hit down 59 to do the show tomorrow from their new sports book, Bocoma Casino in Laurel, or right outside of Laurel. What do we have here? Oh, Nick's listening on 105.9 The Zone, Foundational Burger in Flowood. Get the Smokehouse Burger, but take the barbecue sauce off and get it with their comeback sauce. It's the top. Hail State. Thank you for the text. Brando says, I'm streaming the show. Living at the D-Lo Nude Water Park. Lou's Full Burger, favorite condiment, the cowboy butter I make. That's what Brando, if you want to bring us some of your cowboy butter, we'll trade out something cool that we have.
There we go.
In this closet over here where we have some gifts.
I don't even know what a cowboy butter is.
I don't know, but it sounds awesome.
I like it.
I'll have cowboy butter on my burger or my steak or whatever, or my ribs. Those ribs at Martin's, I didn't realize how good they are. Martin's in Livingston only does ribs on Tuesday. They good. Let's see. High school basketball coach here, Bo, listening on 105.9 The Zone. Give me mustard and B3, Burgers, Blues, Barbecue. Love it. Oh, here's one. We'll give a shout out to Ed's Burger Joint. Bo, I'm streaming the show on my way to Hattiesburg, where I will enjoy a delicious meal at Ed's Burger Joint with some spicy mustard in preparation for Saturday when we will put a beat down on the mustard buzzards. Hail State. That's Jimmy Hookup on the Golden Moon Casino text line. I got a War Damn Eagle from War Eagle Rich. Man, we got... Oh, CS's Burger. Yeah, I grew up in Belhaven, man. I know all about CS's behind Millsaps. Let's go. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. The show is brought to you by your next spray-in bed liners and lift kits. Rick's Pro Truck. 3 locations, baby. Oh, wow. Let's go. Your SEC Insider hit. Whoa. Your SEC Insider hit this morning on the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. And the best part, you can play right now in Mississippi. The Out of Bounds Show playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can start playing with as little as $1. Download the Underdog app today and sign up with promo code Out of Bounds to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code Out of Bounds. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Mississippi. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_HTML for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. My man Jackson Meadows and I are hanging out on week 1 of college football. We got football tonight. I did not realize, my bad, that Georgia Tech and Colorado are also playing this weekend. So that's interesting to me. Georgia Tech, they think, is going to have a really, really, really good year. And we all remember that maybe the best game of college football last year was Georgia Tech, Georgia. I was just sitting there Thanksgiving weekend going, this isn't really happening. Is this real or are aliens coming in my house? What is happening? It goes to show you how far off Georgia was last year. Georgia Tech, what was it, 7, 8 overtimes? And that's when we all kind of got into the new overtime rules, which are real weird and wacky. But, man, that was an absolute dogfight. No pun intended. Yeah. Between the Yellow Jackets, I like Georgia Tech's colors, and I like Georgia's. Like I told you, I grew up a Georgia fan outside of being Mississippi State,
right? Because
of Dominique Wilkins, and just that red, black, and white, and a little silver was cool. But Georgia Tech has rolled out some really, really cool jerseys, uniforms over the years. Whether it was Travis Best and all those players that Bobby Crimmins had over the years, man, Georgia Tech could ball. I mean, Dennis Scott. I mean, they had absolute John Sally. They had dudes, for days at Georgia Tech. But now they got a football team and they got it going, and that's a tough place to win. And evidently, Brent Key has found some alums. I mean, they got plenty of money. It's just, it's like Stanford. Stanford won't give any money to NIL. I mean, they've got one alum that could give them $30 million a year. Right. They got two. They've got thousands of alums that single by themselves could give them $30 million a year to build the football team that they want. But Georgia Tech, unbelievable engineering school, architect, right there in downtown Atlanta. Y'all have driven by it, been on the campus. We have too. He's got it going on. So they'll play Colorado in prime without Shadur and Travis Hunter. Okay.
Still, they do have a good quarterback, or they have a top-rated quarterback.
Haynes King. Yeah. I loved watching him play last year. So, he's been around forever. He was at A&M, and then he found his mojo at Georgia Tech, and I think the kid's just a damn baller. I think he's like Diego Pavia. He's like, I'll kick your ass in the stadium, or we can go outside in the parking lot. You find a few guys, I'll find a few guys, and we'll go. I love that kind of mentality. That's what it takes. You got to have a dog or some dogs on your team that will throw down anywhere, anytime. And Haynes King, you talking about tough. We had one in the state last year. Jackson Dart took shot after shot and got up. Just an absolute machine. Haynes King can play for Georgia Tech. Watch out. Watch out this weekend. So
So it is the new era, right, for priming them.
uh,
Whole new deal. You don't have your boy. You don't have your two-way player. Now I guess we get. Is this where we see how good of a coach Dion is, or is that?
yeah, I do. I think so.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Because this will be his first, full, I guess, cycle maybe? Or is this he's got all his people are in there.
Yeah, I mean, they do big. They go big in the portal.
They flipped out everybody in the beginning. So
Yeah.
this is his, these are his guys.
Yes.
Full cycle recruits or portal transfers. And what does he need to do? What is a successful year for Deion Sanders? Bowling?
I think so.
Without
think
looking
so.
at the schedule, I would say going bowling is a feat.
I think so. I think you're right.
I'll look at their over/under on the wins, but hey, they go bowling, dude. That's good. You lost your two. I mean, that'll end up being the two best players in Colorado history, right?
Who, Shador and Travis? Well, I mean, they had some phenomenal players in the late 80s, early 90s. And they won the national championship.
They did, yeah.
Eric Bieniemy, among others.
Right.
Yeah.
But will they ever be hailed as such? No way.
No, because
Travis
of the, Travis Hunter's incredible.
Right.
And Shador's very talented. So, but they had some good players there. Under McCartney?
Yeah, that's it.
They won they split a national title. Actually, oh my God.
Who?
1990, they split a national title with Georgia Tech. Colorado and Georgia Tech, I think, split the national title. Yeah.
Did they have Cordell? What was his name? He could fly around. He played quarterback. I'll have to go back and look. Colorado quarterback. I'll figure it out. They got that. Didn't they get the 5-star kid too? Yeah, Julian Lewis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cordell Stewart. He was a player, man.
It was Cordell Stewart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cordell Stewart. That's him.
He's a phenomenal player.
Yeah, he could fly. He was great. I think he was left-handed.
Played for the Steelers?
Right. He was right. Yeah, he was a Steeler. If I remember correctly, he was a multi-sport athlete. He was very, 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 very athletic. He's from New Orleans.
Yeah, Brad says Rashawn Salam, good player.
Oh, he was good.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, okay. So he did,
Will
he
says
did,
Cordell Stewart is easily the best Colorado
Simmer
player
down.
of all. I don't know about that. Cordell was phenomenal. We'll see what happens with Travis Hunter's career.
Yeah.
Cordell was great.
He was.
We'll see what happens. Travis is a phenomenal talent. So, and I'm not sure I'm ready to. We just got to let it play out. I guess Cordell right now maybe, but Travis he was really good.
Was he? I mean, yeah, he was obviously, but
no, he was unbelievable at Colorado.
Okay.
I mean, when you're playing 130 snaps a game,
that's a good point.
You can't. No, you can't dismiss that. The guy was fantastic. Yeah, he was one of the best players in college football. That's why he was the second pick in the draft. I don't even remember. Cam Ward won, and I guess Travis too.
Correct.
But
there aren't many ahead of those two, though.
I get the sense that LSU fans. Let's switch gears. I get the sense that LSU fans are just crazy about that they're playing Clemson this weekend. They've lost all these openers. Brian Kelly's winning a lot of games, but not enough to make them happy. And you just get the sense, man, Saturday, I just wonder if it's the breaking point.
Yeah.
If they win, everybody's happy. And you keep moving. Because LSU, 3 of their first 5 games at Clemson, Florida at home, at Ole Miss.
He's winning. He's winning a bunch of games. He's just not winning the right games.
Yeah.
Not to appease them. But I mean, all right, if you have Auburn and LSU kind of in the same category heading into the year, though, it wouldn't surprise you at all to see either one of them with double-digit wins, or let's just say 9 wins.
Oh no, it wouldn't surprise me
whatsoever, right?
for them to get to 9 wins. Good grief, Auburn or LSU, they're really good. They're going to have to win their non-con games this weekend with Auburn at Baylor and LSU at Clemson. I cannot wait. Hugh Freeze, baby.
Wow.
Look, man, they should beat Baylor. Come on.
That shouldn't be a game, right?
It shouldn't. But we'll see if Sawyer Robertson balls out.
That's right.
But I think Auburn could give Sawyer he's really good, but could give the Baylor offensive line a ton of problems.
Yeah. That's going to be just go ahead and lock it in. That's week 1 lock.
Yeah.
They'll handle that ball game. And they'll handle it decisively. I need to find out the line on that game. It's probably, 10.5, 13? Think it's that much?
What?
The line on that game?
2.5?
Is it 2.5?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mentioned it
man, that's
earlier.
I thought, no way. I thought that was wrong.
No.
It's 2.5.
That's what I just
That's
said.
incredible. That's easy money.
Auburn at Baylor. Auburn's laying 2.5.
Free money. I love it when they give away money. Then make that your cornerstone for your parlays. Yeah, that'll be it. Yeah, that'll be in all 9 of them. I'll do a 2-teamer, a 3-teamer, a 4-teamer, a 5-teamer, 6-teamer, 7-teamer, and 8-teamer, and then I'll be out of there.
A 16, 17, and
Dude,
18 parlay, and then you're out of there.
I'm out of there. $5 a ticket and get out.
Okay. All right. Golden Moon
right.
Casino Sportsbook and Lounge on the property of Pearl River Resort. We're also going to be at Bocoma tomorrow live for the Mississippi State Southern Miss game this weekend. Yes, Auburn at Baylor is 2.5. That's surprising. You thought it was like
I thought it'd be way higher. What was it? Baylor ain't no good. Is it a Randa?
I think it's
Randa barely survived last year.
Yeah, because Sawyer Robertson balled out.
Bailed him out. Yeah.
Who signed with Mississippi State. But you wouldn't play him when you should have. And so he left. And then you ran Garrett Schrader out. So you haven't had a playmaker since Nick Fitzgerald.
Schrader was so good that year, too.
Schrader would have been really good.
He crushed it with Syracuse, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I wish Leach and the staff would have been more open-minded on that. But anyway, man, but that's 2 guys that you signed that are really, really good football players and good quarterbacks. You got to have a playmaker. I mean, Ole Miss has kept that going with Matt Corral and Jackson Dart.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's talk that Austin Simmons will not run as much. He may though. We'll see. But Dart ran a lot last year and got hammered because they didn't have the running game. Corral ran a ton. Those guys like Fitz and Dak were just crazy tough and didn't miss time, even all the shots that they took. That's why you're hoping Blake Shapen can play 12 games. I really hope for that young man that he stays healthy and balls out all year. When he played at Baylor, he was good. I mean, he was in the Big 12 championship game. They won it.
Right.
Because that team went on to play in the Sugar Bowl against Ole Miss and beat Ole Miss. But he got knocked out in the second half, but he made the plays to win. He played pretty well last year. It was new and so on. I would have loved to have had an opportunity to see Shapen and Kevin Coleman.
Like really get dialed in and really work with each other.
Yeah. Because throwing a true freshman in is just a disaster. I mean, Van Buren did everything he could, but Kevin Coleman with Blake Shapen as the year rolled on. Good Lord.
I'm just finding lock after lock. I didn't know that it was just easy.
Yeah.
Georgia 38.5 over Marshall all day. They will scorch that. Overs 55, they'll kill that on their own. It'll be 50, it'll probably be like 63-0. Cover.
They'll
cover it on their own.
You got them.
Yeah, Georgia, that's a lot.
Have you already got your parlay set?
I mean, I'm looking at a 7-teamer right now, and I really like it.
Yeah,
I can't. I love it.
You winning from over here.
You should.
On your 17 parlay.
Look, $5 wins $350.
Dang, that's nice.
We'll take that. That's going to be that's a heck of a parlay right there.
I mean, that's a weekend. That's a fun weekend out. Some meals.
That it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. That's That's a good little chunk. Now, but the thing is, though, if I hit that, I'm going to hit my 6-teamer or my 4-teamer too. You know, I mean, I'm going to use some of the same plays. I may round robin it. That's the best way to do this. You just have a bunch of games that you feel real confident in, and they take they take different ones from each, and then that's how you bet. That's how you round robin your parlays. So that way, one game doesn't kill you. Because I'll go 5 of 6, left and right.
Right.
But 6 of 6 is hard. You'll go 4 or 5 a lot, but going that 100% is difficult. How many people do you know that lost a parlay by one game?
Well,
all of them.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Yeah, round robin it.
But you've got it figured out.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, you
I mean, you're probably going to cash in 2 or 3 parlays this weekend.
Minimum.
That could be over $1,000. Laying $5 each, $350.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, and that one took me 47 seconds.
Brad says, Commish, what are you going to buy with your winnings?
Oh man. Probably a, let's see. I was thinking about getting a jersey. I might as well get a jersey.
Yeah. What jersey? Travis Hunter?
I can't do that. Jaguars have terrible jerseys.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Why? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. The Mangum Rays jerseys is hot, dude.
Yeah. I
Hot.
love that.
It's nice.
I love
City,
that.
I mean, yeah, they're crushing it.
Jake Mangum,
Sure.
Tampa Bay Rays.
Where are we at now? We're about to be in September.
Yeah.
And guess what he's still doing?
He's still playing,
He's still playing ball.
making plays.
He's still playing ball.
That's
incredible.
Hey, Robert's on the Golden Moon Casino text line. And
Show me the money!
he says, Bo, this is Double T in Madison. Streaming the show on 105.9 The Zone. Yeah, so thezone1059.com. You can stream the show. Thezone1059.com. And he said, I love my homemade burgers on my Weber grill with ketchup and mayo, Hell State. Dude, I've cooked on a Weber grill, still have one 1,000,000 times. It's awesome. $99, $100. Beautiful. What is this? Shady Acres, north of Hattiesburg. I see the sign when I'm driving down to Hattiesburg or the coast, and I'll be doing that today. And he says mustard and onions and tomato. I love all 3 of those. My favorite's pickles, cheese, bacon. Yeah. When I go through Dairy Queen and McGee, it's I just get a cheeseburger with extra pickles. That's my plate. Now, if I'm at like Martin's or B3 or McBee's, I'm wanting
Jazz it up.
Yeah, I mean, I need the right cheese. I need bacon. I need pickles. I need lettuce. I need tomato and mustard on the side.
Yeah.
Bo, if you're ever in Madison, Mississippi on 82, stop at the restaurant called 3-Star Diner. Get the 3-star double house burger. You won't regret it. I'm in on that. I have been by there.
It sounds like
Now, but I went by, there was a place on 82 that was on the south side of the road in between Winona and Starkville, and I got a burger there. Is that where I was? I don't know. It was unreal. It's a gas or a service station with a restaurant in it. It was insane how good it was. I can't remember the name of it. In between, yeah, isn't that right? In between Winona and Starkville on 82. Yeah. Golly. CL from Madison. Ebenezer Big Store Burger. Love a little A1 on a burger. War Eagle. Okay. Ebenezer Big Store Burger. I'm all over that. Love dives and Mississippi towns that have that local deal. Zips and McKee. Yeah, I see that one too. Yeah. I may have stopped by there once, but I need to stop by there. Zips and McGee, 5-star and fries, secrets in the sauce.
Heard about that many a times.
Okay. Res Dog says, Bo, let's hang out in Hattiesburg Saturday. I'll buy you a Natty Light. Cool. Who do we have here? Brandon. He's listening on 105.9 The Zone, listening from Vicksburg. Comeback sauce, Ed's Burger Joint in Hattiesburg. Ed's Burger Joint is going to do really well this weekend with Southern Miss hosting Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Jake from Yazoo says, shout out to Clancy's in Yazoo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always get 2, 1 for me, split the other. for the pups.
Where
That's funny. That's great, man. You guys have really brought it today, and we love you.
do they have the Hall of Fame burger at? It's the
I
Hall
don't
of Fame
know.
restaurant.
I don't know.
Yeah, Hall of Fame restaurant. Yeah, out there in Bentonia.
Okay.
They have all the nice little cool stuff on the walls and whatnot.
Oh,
All
yeah.
the Hall of Famers and all this and whatnot.
Okay. Green Okra says Madison. Listing in Madison, 105.9 The Zone. Mayo, lettuce, tomato, onion, mushrooms. Okay, mushrooms on a burger is amazing. You saute them in the black, cast iron skillet, and boom, put them on the burger. Yes, love a good mushroom, cheese, pickles. I'm all about that. He says Kiefer's downtown. Cool. Been there a million times. What is this? Sun Devil Macy says Chuck Box on University Drive at Arizona State. Mesquite charcoal, grilled peppers on the burgers. Tijuana torpedo. I can tell that Sun Devil Macy is getting revved up for next week's showdown between my team and his team. Arizona State took it last year. Here's what's crazy. As bad as Mississippi State played, and they played a terrible game, they had a chance to win in the end. I mean, Scattaboo ran for like 300 yards, and Mississippi State was within a score somehow. Yeah, that should be a win for Mississippi State next week. Will they? I don't know. Kenny Dillingham against Jeff Levy. You know what I'm saying?
Kenny D.
We ain't going nowhere.
That's what Arizona State's saying after going to the college football playoff.
We ain't going nowhere.
Well, that's what the deal is. They believe they're in. Where Arizona State has a top 5 wide receiver in the country, along with Sam Levitt, who Bartu says could be the first quarterback pick. Excuse me. Something to keep an eye on. That's for sure.
Man.
What?
I don't know why in the world that y'all are going to go down there and let them boys lose at the Rock this week.
Oh, are you calling Mississippi State losing?
It's getting close.
We'll be live from Bocoma Casino tomorrow outside of Laurel. Brought to you by Pearl River Resort for the Mississippi State Southern Miss game. Ed Werder was unbelievable. He covered Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones and Michael Irvin and Emmett and Aikman. That will be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. We'd love for you to subscribe. Thanks for listening to the show live from Bocoma outside of Laurel tomorrow. Enjoy game day.